Well, good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 279 of Be With Me, 7 Minutes of Biblical Wonder. And we've got a good wondering today. This is from Luke chapter 14. This is the parable of the great banquet. There's about 3 or 4 verses of introduction and then the parable. We're not going to be able to finish with the parable today, but we are going to ask a very interesting question about excuses. The excuses for not coming to the banquet. And we're going to bring that home eventually, saying that I'd be on fire for God or I'd be on fire for God when this happens. All right, so let's listen to the story. There's something in it for us. This is from Luke chapter 14, verse 12. He said also to the man who had invited him. So Jesus is at a banquet. There's a bunch of bad behavior at the banquet. Everyone's fighting for the most prestigious seat. He rebukes them by giving a parable of the wedding feast before this, and then now he's going to give us another parable. When you give a dinner or a banquet, do not invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or your rich neighbors, lest they also invite you in return and be repaid. But when you give a feast, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed because they cannot repay you. For you will be repaid at the resurrection of the just. So let's just pause just for a second there. So you're giving a dinner party, and he says, don't invite your friends, that is those that have relational interests along with you, or those you share DNA with, or you share near DNA with, that is your relatives, and then economically trying to entertain the rich people so that they pay you back. But instead, pay people who are economically unable or have inabilities, or are unsighted or lame, people that have disabilities, because they cannot repay you. So the capacity for repayment is highlighted here. And you will be blessed because they cannot repay you, for you will be repaid at the resurrection of the just. We could talk a long time about what is the resurrection of the just, but certainly say God is not mocked and knows what we do, and we are repaid in a certain sense for our behaviors and our action. Okay, let's press on. Verse 15, when one of those who reclined at table with him heard these things, he said to him, blessed is everyone who will eat bread in the kingdom of God. But he said to him, a man once gave a great banquet and invited many. Now here's the real parable of the great banquet. A man once gave a great banquet and invited many. And at the time of the banquet, he sent his servant to say to those who had been invited, come, everything is now ready. So he had a save the date thing go out. And then the servant goes out and does, now is the time, everything is ready. And then verse 18 talks about their excuses. But they all alike began making excuses. The first said to him, I have bought a field and I must go out and see it. Please have me excused. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen and I go to examine them. Please have me excused. And another said, I have married a wife and therefore I cannot come. So I read a commentary about this, and the commentator's take on this was that these were lousy excuses. I would like to differ with that. I think these are actually some pretty good excuses. Like, so I bought land. So in my whole life, I've only bought land a couple of times, and some people can go their entire lives and not buy a house or a piece of land that's supposed to, hopefully make some money. It's a very rare thing, buying land. That's excuse number 1. Excuse number 2 is I bought oxen. Okay, so what are oxen? Oxen are big cattle-like animals who have a purpose. That is that they work. So this guy is buying 5 sets of oxen, 5 yokes. I think a yoke is 2 oxen because they're yoked by a yoke. So he's buying 10 oxen. He's doing some industrial scale farming here, this is a big deal, a large purchase. How much does an oxen cost? About as much as a used tractor, $5,000, something like this. So this guy is making an investment of maybe $30,000 or possibly even $50,000 in kind of today's money. So this is a lot of money. This guy is really putting his money where his mouth is. In other words, how many times in your life would you make a purchase of $40,000 or $50,000 to invest and be productive? I don't think very often. I think this is a big deal. Okay, so then the final one, another, I think, good excuse is I have chosen a wife. Now, that's something I've done only one time, and hopefully you have too. It's a rare thing, and these are, in my opinion, these are pretty good excuses. So somewhere between the save the date and the day of, these people have chosen a higher value excuse for not coming to the kingdom. Okay, so I think the take-home point is I'd be on fire for God, or I'd join this church except for, and I just wrote down some excuses, maybe until the next presidential election, or how about after I retire, or maybe I'll do it when I finish school, or I'll do it when I finish my training program, or I'll do it when I finish passing this test or certification, or I'll do it when I pay off my car, or I'll do it when I become debt-free, or I'll do it after I get done taking care of my sick mother, or maybe when I'm older, maybe I'm in high school and it's like, well, when I go to college, or maybe I'll do it after my children are in school, my preschool children. Or I'll do it after I get better from this illness, or I'll do it after I get in shape, or I'll do it after I finish the burden of work, or I'll do it after I finish this marathon, or I do it after I finished a life goal about having children. We all have excuses for not coming to the banquet that the Lord has for us. And I just want us today, the big thought today is, let's put our excuses front and center. Let's call a spade a spade. You probably have good excuses. The guys in the story, in my opinion, had good excuses for turning away from the Lord. So I'd be on fire for God, except what? Let's be honest with ourselves this morning, shall we? See you tomorrow.